Welcome back to Quiet Mountain, where every feeling has a place to rest and every heart can learn something new. Before the story, I'd like to share something important. Please remember to like, share, and subscribe. This is a free channel to follow. Additionally, if you would like a personalized story, you may email me and I will send a questionnaire for your response. There is a charge for the writing of the private story, so I will then email you the link to forward the payment for the story and then the story itself. Before we begin tonight's story, though, I want to ask you something. Have you ever found yourself standing in the middle of a season of life where you simply couldn't see what came next? Not because you lacked courage, not because you lacked intelligence, but because everything ahead seemed hidden, as if life itself had disappeared into a heavy fog. Perhaps you've laid awake at night wondering how everything would work out. Perhaps your mind raced from one worry to another, trying desperately to solve problems that hadn't yet arrived. Or maybe you've simply felt exhausted, not from climbing the mountain, but from trying to see all the way to the top before making or taking the very next step. If that sounds familiar, then tonight's Quiet Mountain story is for you, because every one of us, at some point, must walk through what the old mountain calls the midnight mist. It is a place where certainty quietly disappears, where confidence flickers, where fear whispers that perhaps we should stop moving altogether, yet the mountain has watched travelers for thousands of years. It has witnessed those who turned back, those who stood frozen, those who discovered something extraordinary, not because they could suddenly see the entire journey, but because they learned to trust a very small light, a light that revealed only the next few steps. And somehow, those few steps became enough. Tonight, we will meet a little lantern whose flame is no brighter than your own inner strength. A lantern who believes it must conquer the entire mountain, only to discover that true courage is much quieter than anyone ever imagined. So as your breathing begins to slow, allow your shoulders to soften. Release the weight of today. Let tomorrow wait patiently beyond the morning. For the next little while, there is nowhere else to be. Only here. Only this peaceful mountain. Only the gentle glow of a small lantern preparing to enter the midnight mist. Welcome to Quiet Mountain Stories. Tonight's story is called The Call of the Midnight Mist, the brave little lantern navigating the midnight mist. So settle in, close your eyes if you'd like, take one slow, comfortable breath, and together, let us begin. Welcome, dear traveler. Tonight, there is nowhere you need to be, nothing left to solve, nothing left to prove, only this quiet mountain, this peaceful night, and one gentle story waiting to unfold. As you settle beneath your blankets, allow your shoulders to soften, your breath to become slower, and imagine yourself standing at the foot of an ancient mountain. The stars above are hidden behind drifting clouds. The moon offers only the faintest silver glow. Everything feels still, as though the entire mountain has paused, waiting for something important. Long ago, hidden among towering mountains, there was a narrow trail known only by wandering lanterns, not people, not animals, lanterns. Each lantern carried a small flame inside. No two flames looked exactly alike. Some burned gently, some flickered gently. Others danced like tiny stars. But every lantern shared one purpose: to keep walking. Not because the journey was easy, but because every step illuminated another. One evening, as the last colors of sunset disappeared, a little lantern named Ember began climbing toward the highest ridge. The mountain was unusually quiet. Even the birds had found shelter. Even the wind whispered softly. Yet something felt different. Far above, a gray, thick mist slowly rolled across the peaks. It wasn't an ordinary fog. This was the midnight mist, a mist so dense that even the oldest lanterns could not see beyond a few feet. The stories about it were many. Some believed it made mountains disappear. Others believed it caused travelers to lose themselves. Many feared it. Most avoided it. As Ember watched the mist drift downward, the little flame inside trembled. What if I cannot find my way? What if I become lost? What if I should simply stop? Perhaps you've felt that way before. Not on a mountain, but somewhere inside yourself. Moments when life suddenly becomes unclear. When tomorrow disappears beyond uncertainty. When the mind fills empty spaces with frightening possibilities. The mountain understands these moments. It has watched them for thousands of years. It knows something we often forget. Fog hides the future, but it never removes the path beneath your feet. The mist finally arrived. Within moments, everything vanished. The distant cliffs disappeared. The valley below faded into white. Even nearby trees became soft shadows. Ember could no longer see the summit or the trail ahead. Only silence remained. The little lantern wanted desperately to lift its light higher, to see everything, to know exactly how the journey would unfold. But no matter how it tried, the mist absorbed every distant beam. Then, from somewhere nearby, came the warm voice of the mountain. Little lantern, you were never meant to light the whole mountain. You only need to light your next 3 feet. Ember lowered the light. Immediately, 3 feet of trail appeared, small stones, a gentle bend, one smooth step, nothing more. It seemed almost too little. Yet after taking those 3 feet, another 3 feet appeared, then another, then another. The mountain smiled quietly. This is how every journey begins. Not through seeing every answer, but through seeing the next truthful step. When anxiety races ahead, it invents entire landscapes that do not yet exist. When peace returns, it gently asks, what can I do right now? Not tomorrow, not next month, only now. The sharp rocks beneath Ember's light no longer seemed frightening. Each rock simply became something understandable. Step over this one. Walk around that one. Slow down here. Continue there. Specific, manageable, possible. Sometimes our greatest fears are nothing more than mountains we are trying to resolve all at once. As the climb continued, the mist began creating strange shadows. Tall shapes seemed to move. Branches appeared like giants. Old tree stumps resembled hidden creatures. The imagination became louder than reality. Ember noticed the flame flickering wildly. The more fear grew, the less steady the light became. Again, the mountain whispered, "When the shadows dance, do not chase them. Steady your flame instead." So Ember slowed. One gentle breath, one careful step, one calm breath. Another step. Soon, a beautiful rhythm appeared. Breathing, walking, glowing, breathing, walking, glowing. The shadows continued to shift, but they no longer controlled the journey. Our minds often work this way. When uncertainty grows, our thoughts begin creating stories. Some helpful, many frightening, yet thoughts, like mist, are not always directions. Sometimes they are only weather. The little lantern discovered something else, its own warmth. The flame did more than create light. It created comfort. Not enough to erase the cold mountain air, but enough to remind Ember, "I am not alone." Self-compassion works much the same way. It does not eliminate hardship. It simply keeps our hearts warm enough to continue. Imagine speaking to yourself tonight, as kindly as the mountain spoke to the lantern, not with criticism, not with impossible expectations, only gentle encouragement. You are doing enough. You may rest. You only need the next step. As midnight deepened, the mountain became colder. The climb became steeper. The mist remained thick. Yet something unexpected happened. Ember stopped wishing to become fearless. Instead, the little lantern became curious. Could courage simply mean continuing while still feeling afraid? The mountain answered, "Bravery is not the absence of trembling. It is allowing your light to keep shining while you tremble." How different that feels. We often imagine courage as loud, confident, certain, but mountains know another kind. Quiet courage. The courage that gets out of bed. The courage that apologizes. The courage that asks for help. The courage that begins again. The courage that survives another difficult day. No audience applauds these victories, yet they change lives. The darker the night became, the brighter Ember's tiny flame appeared. The darkness had not grown weaker. The light had simply become more meaningful. Perhaps that is the truth for us as well. The hardest seasons often reveal strengths we never noticed during easier days. even the cold, once viewed as an enemy, became proof. Proof that the climb mattered. Proof that something worthwhile waited beyond comfort. Proof that growth often feels uncomfortable before it feels rewarding. Eventually, without noticing, the mist began to change. It did not disappear all at once. Instead, small openings appeared. The outlines of distant pines returned. The stars slowly emerged overhead. The moon smiled through thinning clouds. Soon, the entire valley stretched beneath Ember's light. It had been there all along, hidden, never gone, only waiting. The little lantern looked back. Every careful step, every pause, every moment of uncertainty had quietly shaped the journey. The mountain spoke one final time. The mist was never sent to stop you. It was sent to teach you how to trust your own light. Ember understood. The lantern had not become brighter because the mountain had changed. It had become brighter because it learned to believe in its own flame. And perhaps that is why you found this story tonight. Maybe somewhere inside, you've been standing before your own midnight mist. Perhaps there are questions without answers, decisions without certainty, feelings without easy solutions. If so, remember the lantern. You do not need tomorrow's clarity. You only need today's gentle light. 3 feet, 1 breath, 1 kind thought, 1 steady step. That's enough. Always enough. As you continue resting tonight, imagine holding your own quiet lantern. Feel its gentle warmth within your chest. Notice how softly it glows. No rushing, no forcing, simply shining. If tomorrow brings mist, your light will still be there. If tomorrow brings uncertainty, your next step will appear. If tomorrow feels heavy, your quiet courage will walk beside you. The mountain will remain patient, steady, waiting whenever you need to return. Take 1 slow breath in and slowly let it go. Again, breathe in peace and breathe out everything you no longer need to carry tonight. May your dreams be gentle. May your heart be steady. May your inner lantern always remind you that even the smallest light can guide an entire journey through the darkest mist. Sleep well, and we'll meet again on Quiet Mountain.